traffic on one of the economic highway out of Lagos linking the rest of Nigeria, the Lagos-Ibadan highway this morning. Of course, that's some images of those very ghastly, multiple ghastly accidents on this very bridge over the Ogun River that separates Lagos from Ogun State. And you can see some of the images early this morning there. What actually happened, the number of dead, the fatalities still being compiled. We don't have an exact figure yet, but this was a very gridlocked around for several kilometers into the city of Lagos, where you have both what you called very heavy duty vehicles, trucks conveying petrol products and other goods out of Lagos being delayed for a number of hours. The accidents happened on both sides of the highway, and this is the latest and the very disappointing state of this very major economic nerve center of Nigeria. Of course, Lagos is Nigeria's economic and financial capital, and whatever happens in Lagos affects the entire country. And this is one story this morning that will cost not just only lives, but also economic costs. Some of those images will be upsetting to some of our viewers, so we need to warn you about some of those images you may be seeing on this particular report. And as we bring you the update there this morning, a lot of folks had to trek and walk their ways to various businesses and places of work around this location. And of course, the cost is yet to be fully unveiled, and that's what we have at the moment. Of course, you can see there is a combination of the Army, Police, the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, the Federal Road Safety Commission, and other agencies, including those of Lagos and Ogun State, I must say, coming together. Some of the injured persons there in that very disturbing image. We tell everyone to consider movement along there. Of course, we now have a bit of a vehicular free movement along the Lagos-Ibadan highway all the way to alongside the seat of Lagos State government and all the way down to Ojota and all those bridges. And then we're having some of our staffers here on Channels Television just coming in a few minutes ago to make sure we are on air and live to everyone, not just here across Nigeria, but around the world. Now let's get on. That's the business traffic, this report this morning. And let's now go to the world of business very well. Now, this is one good news. In case you missed it, the Abuja Federal High Court yesterday revisited some orders regarding the BVN battle. Remember, the Nigerian authorities under the Office of the Attorney General moved in October to seize all the monies that are in the accounts, bank accounts not linked to BVN, or what to call the biometric verification number. Now, the judge has revisited some of the orders. So the order number 4, which has now been revisited, which means that banks, the court has now unfreeze the bank accounts that are now in compliance with the BVN registration. Previously, for those who moved very quickly when the court order was made to comply with the BVN, their accounts remain frozen. Now the court says those accounts will now be unfrozen. That's number 1, for those who have complied with the BVN registration. Order number 5, that's the second revisitation done yesterday by the court. The interim forfeiture of all the monies or proceeds in the accounts with our BVN has now been lifted. In a manner of speaking very simply, the government is no longer seizing those money, let's put it that way, until, however, the substantive suit that was brought before the court by the Office of the Attorney General on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria against commercial banks, adding the central bank to it. Until that case or suit is being determined, the Nigerian government has lifted, or the court has lifted, the interim order to forfeit all the proceeds in all the bank accounts without a BVN. That's some good news. We just think we should let you have that very quickly, in case some of you may be going through some stress because you couldn't link your BVN and has no access to those monies. today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. The Finance Ministry, the Debt Management Office, the Budget and National Planning, and others who are involved in the Nigeria's latest $5.5 billion Eurobond are now in London to hold the first leg of the Investors Roadshow. The second, that will be today. Tomorrow is Friday. They will be in New York to talk to international investors at the global debt market about this latest offering. Yesterday afternoon, Fitch, one of the world's top 5 rating agencies, assigned a pre-offer B+ rating to Nigeria's new Eurobond and says a further rating or categorization will take place or may take place upon Nigeria's providing other information in the prospectus regarding this latest Eurobond. From today, we will hear from the Debt Management Office, the Finance Minister in London, and tomorrow out of the United States, New York, the capital of the financial markets worldwide. And this is one news that came out of under the carpet, Heritage Bank. Now, yesterday, the managing director of the Nigerian Post Authority appeared before the legislature in Abuja and says $21.3 million of Nigerian Post Authority monies belonging to the federal government Treasury Single Account, or TCA, are trapped in Heritage Bank. MPA Chief Executive Ms. Adiza Usman told legislators that all efforts by MPA, including those of the central bank, to retrieve this money from Heritage Bank Limited has proved abortive. And she went on to say that the Nigerian Post Authority are written to the central bank to provide a guarantee that this money, $21.3 million in Heritage Bank, is saved. But she said the central bank has provided no guarantee that this money will be returned over into the coffers of the federal government via the Treasury Single Account, of course, which sits with the central bank. And the head of the Port Authority went on to claim, Ms.